So the timing of this has been absolutely incredible, right? We decided to reunite the Gladiator Diaries podcast on Thursday, where there was some potential news in the works that nothing was confirmed, and then as I'm getting the episode uploaded to YouTube to go live, there we have it. News is official. The Baltic Gladiator is back at UFC 304 in Manchester. How excited were you to see the news come up? Because when we spoke on Thursday, it seemed a bit uncertain as to when it was going to get made official.
Well, this is the mad thing. Like obviously I already had the news. I already knew what was going to be going on, but I'm like, contracts haven't been done. Like, what's the crack basically? But yeah, contracts have been done. Contracts have been signed, and everything's all just like pretty much set in stone now. And it is just mad that like literally, I remember I had some people ask me from MMA media that oh yeah, like can we get your thoughts on this fight because it's going to be announced on UFC. I'm like, really? I didn't even know contracts were signed yet. So but yeah, like I say, so everything's all done, everything's all set in stone, and yeah, looking forward to it. So now everyone knows, cat's out the bag.
Yeah, exactly. As I mentioned to you before we started recording on Thursday, when I asked you, who is the opponent? Because I wonder if it's one of the names that we mentioned for you on the Violent Money Matchmaker podcast, and it ended up being Marcin Prachnio, who was the guy that we were like, yeah, that we think that makes a lot of sense, right? Like, what was your initial reaction to getting Prachnio? Because I know that there was potentially other options on the table before Prachnio was the one that agreed to fight you.
Yeah, I had two other offers for fights. Either both said no or the management said no. I have no idea, but I had two other opponents that were offered to me, and yeah, it ultimately being Marcin Prachnio was the one that signed on the dotted line. So an all European affair, and yeah, it's it's going to be a good fight. Like I say, I'm really excited for it. And yeah, when I got the name, obviously I knew who it was straight away, knowing that he just come off of a win against Devin Clark. So yeah, tricky fella. He's got a very particular set style, but definitely a style that we can deal with quite handily.
I think the style matchup is pretty interesting for this one, like you said. I think that when we spoke about Pratnio as potentially an option for you, like I think it makes a lot of sense for multiple reasons. Like, first of all, he's got a decent amount of fights in the UFC. This isn't a guy that's just arrived. He's fought some tough guys in this division as well, and got some big wins as well, like on his record. I think most importantly, he's coming off of a win, which I felt like was important because I didn't feel like the last fight, especially considering how high people were on Petrino. You said it yourself that fight being in Brazil was Petrino. Like they wanted Petrino to look good. Of course, he's a guy that people have had their eyes on for a while now, and the UFC always talk about wanting Brazilian stars and stuff like that. So I didn't feel like you needed to take a big step back after that one. So I think that's the thing, as well as just you finally getting to be on a UK card, which we've spoken about loads during the podcast. I think that's a really great part about this matchup is the fact that he's coming off of a win. So you're not fighting some guy. You're not taking too much of a step back in trying to bounce back with a win, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, obviously, it looks good on paper. The matchup. Like I say, the guy coming off of a win against a good opponent. Very high level opponent in Devin Clark. So and exactly that's what I want. I want a fight that's going to bring some hype. That's going to bring some, the reward for the reward when I beat him to be great. Do you know what I'm saying? Instead of the reward when I win, it's like, oh, okay, well, he's just trying to climb back up the ladder. Like you say, like we're just jumping straight back in and trying to make a name for ourselves and trying to really impose ourselves on the light heavyweight division. I started making my run earlier. It got halted by Petrino, but we're looking to get right back on track with this fight.
Yeah, one of the things that we also spoke about off camera was how the timing of this all, like, I know that there's quite a few UK fighters I think that are in this boat that were maybe hoping to be out earlier on in the year, and then this card put together, and so it's kind of like it's an awkward thing where you probably do want to fight earlier, but then potential to fight in the UK if you end up waiting and stuff like that. But the timing of this, in the space between your last fight and this one, starting to work up north with Tom Aspinall and Mick Parkin and Phil DeFries and those guys, and then the UFC's coming to Manchester. Tom Aspinall's at the top of the card. Mick Parkin's on the card. Like, the timing of that is crazy, right? Because you could have started training at that gym in any of these fight camps, and it happens to be this one where you've started. Like, this is where we're going to see the effects of that, and you're sharing the card with Tom and Mick, who are going to be preparing for that exact same date.
I think this couldn't have happened in any better way. Just like you said, everything's just sort of fell into place at the perfect time with the perfect matchups, and being able to train with some really high level guys. Obviously training with Tom, as we mentioned, training with Mick, Phil DeFries. It's almost like this was a heaven sent. This was how the universe wanted to put the pieces of the puzzle together, and I'm feeling really good about this. So like I say, a lot of changes have been made in my training and the way I'm going about things, and I can already see it paying dividends. And when you're going into training thinking, shit, there's something that I need to improve on, that's actually a good thing. Because although you want the confidence in yourself to be high, there's an excitement of, I have stuff to work on, and I need to better myself. And through the training camp, we're gonna tweak these things and make ourselves the best that we can possibly be. And like I say, I'm looking forward to the finished product at the end of this 9 weeks now.
We kind of spoke about this on the episode that came out yesterday, but without kind of directly speaking about you, we kind of spoke about Tom and Mick and how they're gonna, how they're planning on preparing for fighting at a later time. And as you said on that episode, you've got experience doing that anyway because of things like Fight Island and stuff like that, where the timings were all crazy. So is there anything? I imagine it's not. It doesn't seem that new, which is crazy because I think the idea of people fighting at like midnight or 1 a.m. and stuff like that is crazy. But you have done this before, so it's not like this is suddenly I've got to change everything, right? It's not that big of a change.
Not at all. And like I say, and it's good as well. I've got other people that are fighting on the same card as me. We can exchange ideas and see what those guys are doing. But I mean, realistically, it'll be, everything just goes on as normal. Well, I'll just be training it a little bit later on fight week and maybe a little bit before that. But realistically, outside of that, I mean, everything's going to stay exactly the same. We're just going to want to switch on at particular times. A little bit annoying, but at the same time, it's a fist fight. When you got your adrenaline pumping, you got the adrenaline rushing, you're ready for anything, mate. Do you know what I mean? I'll be ready to jump out of bed straight into a fight. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know what else there is to say. We've spoken about the potential of you fighting on a UK card for however long that we've been doing this now. So the fact that it's finally here, like you said, the timing of everything playing out and stuff like that, I think, like I said already, the matchup is a good one. It makes a lot of sense. So all systems go from here on out, right, all the way to July 27th.
Yeah, well, like I say, I'm looking forward to it. My preparations have already been really good. I've been training for ages just for an opportunity to come about, and finally, something, I think it's all been built up around me coming back and putting on a performance, and this is exactly the place to do it. So I think all of this has culminated to this grand performance that I'm going to be putting on. I've got a tough opponent. I've got a very stylistically awkward opponent. Obviously he's had a lot of fights in the UFC, but he hasn't faced anything like the Baltic Gladiator, and especially the one that's going to be turning up on July 27th. So all I've got to do is just go out there, have fun, and ultimately go out there, do my best, and show what I'm all about.
All right, man. I can't wait for it. So happy that you've got fight news. Like we're back in business. So yeah, just excited, man, and excited to see what the next couple of months hold until we get to fight night. But I will catch up with you very soon, I imagine, to talk about the early stages of this camp and things like that. But until then, my man.
100%.
Wish you all the best.
100%. All right,
And
have an
let's
amazing
go.
weekend, and that's it. Let's do it. The fight's out there. Let's get it cracking, mate.